Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And can I just say, first of all, what a busy news morning this is going to be. First of all, I just want to say today is the 13th of July and it's a Tuesday. And for those people who are not aware, in the UK and in most countries, we have what they call Friday the 13th. Well, in Greece, they have Tuesday the 13th as a day that can be unlucky. So today, Tuesday the 13th, the news, I've got to be honest, is really quite intense. There's been a lot going on, and I've got quite a lot of stories that I just really want to get through as well. Just a quick look at the weather then. Tuesday, the weather today, it's going to be very hot and sunny. Thank you to Amanda for her little concise weather forecast. Temperatures today are going to be around about 33 degrees, but it's going to feel like 36. She says, have a great day. Just be aware that in the last 24 hours, the Greek Fire Brigade reported that there was a total of 43 forest fires across the country in the last 24 hours. I know we've also had another fire here at Skopos again, here on Zakynthos. So please, just imploring everybody while you're on holiday here to be very careful with your naked flames, whether you're lighting a cigarette, whether you're having a barbecue, whether you're going out and having a picnic and you're putting your bottles and glasses down on the ground. Just be very, very careful, as again, the place is like a tinderbox. Anyway, just quickly switch the screen round so you can see me as well. Also as well today, Jane is back at the airport today, doing her checking of people that are arriving and on flights, and I've got some information on that and I'll come on to that. Now, I normally don't like starting with any UK news, but again, I think Greece and the UK at the moment are kind of running in tandem at the moment as to freedom and everything else, the 19th of July. And just a quick recap on some of the measures that have come in the UK within the last 24 hours after Boris's announcement. Once again, just to remind you that you can still come to Greece as long as you're double jabbed. You only need to take a test if you are not jabbed to fly in. So Greece wants you to come. However, just remember that once you've done your holiday here, you will still need to do a test, all right, before you fly out. However, if you are double jabbed, obviously when you get back to the UK, you don't need to quarantine. However, you will need to do another test in the UK after you have returned on your holiday. So just let's make that quite clear. We are noticing there's more flights coming in at the moment from the UK, and I'll come on to that in just a short while. But anyway, some of the rules that have been announced for the UK in regards what you're allowed to do and what are not allowed to do. Regards face masks, they're no longer mandatory. However, companies can still insist that their staff have to wear them. All right, well, if you're going into a pub in the UK now, you don't need to QR code on entry, and you can also go and order from the bar. So that's a good one then again. Also as well, the 1 metre rule has also been scrapped in the UK, meaning that restaurants don't have to basically space their tables out, which is a positive for you over there. Also as well, working from home, they are encouraging that to end. However, employees can still choose if they still want to work from home because they don't feel safe going back into the office. Or maybe they're so used to doing their work in their pants, trying to get back into the office is going to be difficult for them to readjust. Also as well, care homes. Care homes now have scrapped the only 5 people or only 5 visitors are allowed in. That has now been scrapped, which is great. That means my mum now can have more people come and see her. Now, vaccination passports, according to the UK at the moment, will no longer legally be required. But it will be up to individual venues if they still wish for you to present some form of documentation to say that you've been jabbed and that you are safe to come into whatever establishment it is that they run. So where the government is saying you don't need to do it, they're still relying on private enterprise and private business just to keep the mantra alive and keep it going. Right now, when it comes to the rule of 6, that has now been scrapped. There's no longer any legal limits on social contact whatsoever. Again, I'm talking about the UK, if anybody's just joined me. Weddings and funerals now, which I think is a fantastic thing to see now. In the UK, there's no limit on numbers allowed on weddings and funerals in the UK, which is good news. Now, when it comes to nightclubs in the UK, no restrictions. Nightclubs can reopen for the first time since the pandemic began. So again, good news for the nightclub industry. It looks like Ministry of Sound and all the other great venues are all going to be reopening, if they're still able to reopen, if they haven't all gone bust in the meantime. But they have no restrictions whatsoever on them. OK, now, whether the venues are saying we need to see your vaccination certificate before you're allowed in, well, we'll wait and see what happens there. Anyway, and lastly, and again, this should have happened ages ago, sports events now, no restrictions on numbers, meaning stadiums can now be full. So those are the rules that have now been given to the UK at the moment, and I'll come on to what's happening here in Greece further into my news, all right? Anyway, arrivals today in Zakynthos. We're expecting 2 flights from Athens, 3 from Italy, 2 from Romania. We're expecting 8 from Poland, 1 from Slovenia, 1 from Hungary, and we're expecting 3 flights in from the UK. Hooray! I hear the cheers. Anyway, so we've got a 12 o'clock flight from TUI coming from Manchester coming in. We've also got a Birmingham flight tonight, 5 minutes past 6 coming in again with TUI. And then we've got a TUI London Gatwick coming in at 18:55. Now, I know Jane is meeting the Manchester flight, I think, and I think the Birmingham flight today. But anyway, at least we are getting TUI coming now. It's a bit drippy and drabby, but it seems to be a bit more consistent. So the flow from the tap is just starting to run. I don't know how many people will be on those flights, if they're fully booked. If anybody knows of anybody on that flight, let us know. I'd be curious to see how busy that flight is. Those flights are today from the UK. Now, let's quickly look at the COVID stats in the last 24 hours here in Greece. Unfortunately, the infection rate is on the rise again. You might remember yesterday we said it was 1,465 new infections across the country. That has just crept up slightly to 2,065. There's been 12 new cases identified after checks into the country. That is just up on 1 on the day before. Now, when it comes to the national stats in regards infections across the prefectures, Corfu has had 14 new cases reported. Kefalonia has had 4 new cases reported. And I'm sorry to say that Zakynthos has had 3 further new cases reported. That brings our total up for the month of July at the moment to 18 cases. When you consider that in June, we'd only had 7. We're now got 18 new cases have been confirmed here on the island. Also as well, I'm afraid the death rate has gone up slightly. I did report to you 5 on the last podcast. Today it's 10 new deaths across the country, bringing the total now to 12,802. Once again, our condolences to those families that are affected. Again, the average age of those people, 96% of them had underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And again, our condolences to those families affected. Now, when it comes to incubations in ICUs, again, the figure is down. OK, we had 142 the other day. That number has now dropped down to 139 in people in ICUs across the country. That's 93 males, that's 46 females. Remember the magic number of 900. That's how many beds that Greece has to be able to cope with a pandemic. So the numbers for incubations are relative. Well, they are. They're just low and they've been dropping all the time. All right. Once again, the average age of people in critical condition is 67 years of age. 83% of those have underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. Right, so there you go. That's the stats for today. Today's news then. The top story at the moment is the British press, or the local press, describing this as an incredible incident took place in the early morning hours at Zakynthos Airport. 4 British women yesterday who'd been diagnosed positive with coronavirus decided that they were going to get on a plane and go home. Anyway, these 4 girls who'd tested positive in the previous days, they did a rapid test because they came down with symptoms. So they were transferred to the quarantine hotel in Kerry, which is better than a Premier Inn at Gatwick Airport. And it is a lovely little hotel and spa. Anyway, these 4, so I just call them idiots, all right, decided in the early hours of Monday that they were going to fly home come hell or high water. They disappeared from the quarantine hotel. Obviously, the local police were alerted. And of course, as soon as the 4 women turned up at the airport, they were arrested by the Zakynthos Police Department. And as a result, they were then obviously sent back to the quarantine hotel in an ambulance. I don't know why they didn't just stick them in jail just for the period, for the rest of the time. I think what a stupid act. Also, it doesn't exactly put the British in a good light either. It just makes those people who are anti-Brit haters, just gives them fuel on the fire. So anyway, there you go. 4 idiots basically trying to get home. They tested positive while on holiday. Makes you wonder whether they'd had the jab or not before they flew over. That'd be an interesting little fact to find out if they'd had it before they come out. But anyway, they then obviously are now back at the quarantine hotel. I don't know how long they're going to be there for, and if they're actually going to take any legal action against them as well, because they could have put everybody's lives in danger on the flight flying back to the UK. Anyway, that's by the by. Also as well, something else that doesn't put us in good stead either. Video footage has been released on the local press about fierce clashes between Italian and English tourists, which broke out at the end of the European Championships in Laganas. The British and Italians turned the main street, they said, of Laganas into a battlefield. Dozens of people started punching each other, while several were found at the time of the incident and obviously were trying to escape. And they said the blood, according to the information, ignited when the 2 sides met in the middle of the road. Anyway, an English fan throws a fist into an Italian and a fight started immediately. People fell to the ground to receive repeated blows, while a few decided to take on the role as peacekeepers in order to try and calm down the situation. Again, I was getting people sending me video clips yesterday of what was going on in Britain, about people having a go at people wearing Italian football shirts. It's a sodding game, for Christ's sake. It's not going to change or end the world at the minute who wins a football match or loses a football match. Yes, it's nice for national pride, but when nationalistic pride comes and starts to take over, whatever happened to sportsmanship, whatever happened to, well done guys, good game, there's always next time, and there's always another game round the corner. And these idiots up in Laganas who obviously wanted to kick off, and it was Laganas, all right? I was in Sillery the same night, and to be honest, where I was going, I never saw any incidents. I did see the Italians driving around. I was more worried about them getting injured, having a crash on a quad bike or a scooter, than I was about actual violence between people over the result. And I've got to be honest, I'm not bragging on behalf of Magdalenas, but we had British fans in Magdalenas who actually shook their hands and congratulated the Italians who were, obviously watching the game in there, and shook their hand and said, well done, guys, well done, guys. That's what you want to see. We've got enough problems in the world without kicking off over a football game as well. Right, also it seems on Saturday the Zakynthos Police, they were out being busy. A €2,000 fine and a 7-day suspension of operations was imposed on a barbecue grill house in Zakynthos. Not sure where this grill house was, and the reason that they were booked was for the non-observance of table seating distances. So please, guys, if you're running a business, just be very careful. Also, as well, a €13,000 fine was also placed upon a reception area in Corfu. again for the violation of suspension of people standing while in that venue and not sitting. There was also another €13,000 fine in a bar in Corfu for the violation again of people standing inside the venue and not sitting. So once again, please guys, when you're going into a bar or restaurant, please sit down, don't stand, all right? Otherwise, there's a danger they may get booked, and you'll probably get booked and all as well. Anyway, the news we were waiting for in regards what was going to happen in Greece. Britain had its thing yesterday. Greece has had its thing yesterday as well, about the way ahead with vaccinations and opening of businesses. Anyway, vaccinations against COVID-19, it says, will be mandatory in Greece for healthcare workers and nursing home staff as the new infection rates in the countries continue to rise. That's what Mr. Mitsotakis, the Prime Minister, said on Monday. He said the measures for nursing home staff is effective immediately, while healthcare workers will have to be vaccinated starting on the 1st of September. However, non-compliance will start with suspensions, first of all, from work from the 16th of August. So basically, the vaccinations will start on the 1st of September as compulsory. And if you're not vaccinated by the 16th of August, you will be suspended from work. Again, that's a dark turn. It should be your choice whether you get vaccinated or not. Now, the next bit of news is a little bit confusing. I'm going to warn you now, but it's the bit of news that affects us in the bars, in the restaurants. Mitsotakis is set to announce the new restrictions to contain the spread of the virus, such as only allowing vaccinated customers indoors in bars, cinemas, theatres and other closed spaces. Now, these were expected last night and the detail is expected sometime today. However, the Prime Minister did confirm that until the end of August, entry to enclosed venues such as cinemas, theatres, bars, etc. will be limited to only those who have been vaccinated and can present a relevant documentation. So as I said, the detail of this has not been made clear. Are we now saying, all right, that you are going to only have pure areas for vaccinated people to go into? There was talk of mixed and pure. Obviously, if it was going to be a mixed area, they weren't going to allow as many people in as in a pure area. However, we're still yet to see the detail of this, and we're waiting again. Today, it was talked about that the detail of this would be revealed. I know at the moment, quickly looking at the local press again this morning, a lot of bar owners, restaurant owners are really worried at the moment because, as they say, everything is up in the air, and it's still up in the air. And we're still looking at Thursday as a day of, like with the UK, supposedly of limitations being lifted so people can do work. However, it looks like limitations are being reimposed and reinforced. Also, to that end, Greece is going to start vaccinating teenagers between 15 to 17 against coronavirus, and that's going to start on the 15th of July. The health authorities announced that yesterday. They said appointments can be set by their parents using the TaxNet credentials. They also have to be accompanied as well. The kids going for the vaccination, they have to be accompanied as well to the inoculation centre, so they can't just bowl up on their own. They've got to have a parent or a guardian with them before the jab can actually take place. And at the moment, there is still a quandary as to whether conscripts are to be forcibly jabbed as well here in Greece. That at the moment has not been ironed out, or any detail on that being said. And interestingly, there was an article today about the British forces, about whether it was ethical to vaccinate British forces against the virus. And a general, I can't think of his name at the moment, wrote a very compelling piece to say the reasons why it should not be taking place for recruits into the British forces to be forcibly vaccinated with the vaccine. Anyway, also interestingly, a crackdown on Greek nightclubs, bars and restaurants since the 8th of July which has made it illegal to stand, dance or mingle, is part of the Greek government's efforts to stop the spread of coronavirus. But as they say here, it doesn't mean that the party is over. It's just gone underground. A very interesting piece again yesterday in the Greek press. They said this is the Mykonos nightclub owners society has said it's just gone underground and it's off the government radar. And as the party migrates to the private villas, they are assessed. They are accessed only by paid invitation only. Now, dancing of any kind of movement by customers in a nightclub, bar or restaurant has been severely restricted by the Greek government. Customers are now required to remain seated at all catering venues. They are completely prohibited from standing, mingling or dancing together. However, the nightclub, restaurant and bar owners on the Greek island of Mykonos are simply not having it. Anyway, Prime Minister Mitsotakis was warned in a scathing letter issued by the Association of Mykonos Town Businesses and Professionals that they would not be the government scapegoat for the rise of coronavirus cases. Now, the letter from the association openly points a finger at the private parties that take place nightly at villas across the island. Some of these parties are organised by private individuals and others by beach clubs who want their usual seaside parties to be able to continue till dawn. Now, if you're on a private property, even if you are one of the thousands of strangers in villas overlooking the Aegean, which you've paid €500 entry to walk in, you will have no issues with mingling, dancing merrily, or making unmasked and uninterrupted advances at these functions. That's their wording. Anyway, Wednesday night, the Deputy Minister for Citizens Protection, Nikos Chariadis, announced that because of the rampant spread of the Delta variant of coronavirus, evidence in testing statistics, new safeguards would be put in place for the hospitality industry. Anyway, as of Thursday, July the 8th, patrons at clubs, restaurants and bars across the nation were no longer allowed to be on the premises of a venue, standing or dancing. Patrons were restricted to their seats and are not allowed either to circulate inside the venue or dance. Now, the association wants the government to be as strict in enforcing the measures, including issuing of fines and making arrests with the private party venues, as they are with the officially licensed establishment. They've been saying that hefty fines, closures loom for the non-compliant nightclubs. He said currently the rules are 3 strikes and you're out. For the first violation, a Greek nightclub is issued a fine of almost €12,000 and immediately closes for 7 days. The second infraction is another €12,000 fine and closure for 15 days, effective immediately. And the third violation will close the venue for good, with both a hefty fine and their license to operate being revoked as well. Now, since early May, the Greek government has been courting the world, inviting folks to come to Greece to vacation in an effort to revitalise the economy, because a huge percentage of its income is generated from the tourism sector. Now, one of the selling points of Greece as a destination is its culture of nightlife, music and dance, and particularly for destinations renowned for their 24/7 party vibe like Mykonos. The restrictions imposed on the movement within nightclub venues pretty much closes any officially licensed establishment offering mingling, music and dancing. I like that word, mingling, I've got to be honest. However, he said, but bar, restaurant and nightclub owners in Greece have had a fierce reaction to the safety measures, because most venues will have to close if customers cannot mingle or dance, while illegal villa venues continue to operate with impunity. Now, the police are well aware of the villa parties, but cannot stage an invasion or a raid, arrest anyone or issue fines, since the law protects them under the asylum of the private home, which allows occupants to do as they like. So basically what the nightclub owners are saying, listen, you need to get a grip of these private parties that are going on. We're still paying taxes. We're still paying something towards the economy. We're trying to operate a business under very, very extreme rules and conditions. However, these illegal villa parties are being allowed to run with no problem whatsoever because they're protected by the law. There is cases of where police have stood outside villas where parties are going on and they are not allowed to intervene whatsoever because they would be breaking the laws in regards privacy and asylum of the private home. So again, it's going to be interesting, and this could be one of the reasons why there might be this delay on the moment on the detail as to what's going to happen in regards pubs, bars, restaurants and the inside use of locations. And hopefully this letter that they have written might jog some like common sense to come and rule in. Anyway, another story completely unrelated to COVID, etc. A 50-year-old man was remanded in Monday to Greneva prison in northeastern Greece after he was accused of repeatedly raping his underage niece over a period of 6 years. Now, the case became known last month after the Hellenic police announced that the case had been filed against him following an investigation sparked by a complaint from the victim, who is now 17. Now, he was tracked down in Germany last week and he was served a summons. He appeared before the Thessaloniki investigating magistrate on Monday, where he was charged with rape, child abuse, sexual intercourse with a minor under the age of 12. Now, the plaintiff claimed the acts against her were committed between 2013 and 2019 when she was living in Thermos Thessaloniki with her grandmother, as custody had been removed from her parents. So once again, if you experience any form of domestic or sexual violence and you live here in Greece, you don't need to suffer in silence. You can either call the Greek police using the number 100, or you can call a dedicated helpline, and the number for that dedicated helpline is 1440. 1440, and the line is staffed by trained social workers and also psychologists. And what's more, you can speak to them either Greek or in English, and they may be able to help you or give you some assistance if you find yourself in that kind of situation. And finally, another heartwarming story here in Greece. A Greek student named Dimitris Kalakatis did extremely well recently in his Panhellenic exams, despite the tragedy of losing both his parents to coronavirus earlier this year. Now, the extremely important academic exam results were released on Friday, and the interesting thing about the exam results this year was they were released online. The students didn't go into college to look at the numbers on the walls. They were told by email as to what their scores were. Now, this young lad scored 18.7 points out of 20, which is a very, very impressive score rating on his final exams. Even so that the Prime Minister, Mr. Mitsotakis, reportedly called the young man actually to congratulate him on Saturday. Now, the young lad is from a town of Nafkokotis, which is in western Greece. He lost his parents just 2 months ago, very suddenly, to the coronavirus. His father was a former deputy mayor, and his mother, she was 51. She's passed away as well after suffering from coronavirus at the Patra University Hospital. His father, by the way, was 56 and his mother was 51. Now, he was invited onto Greek television Ant 1 on Saturday evening to discuss achievement, and he had a call with the Prime Minister, Mr. Mitsotakis, and asked what is he planned to do. He says, I've always been interested in medicine as a subject, and what has happened to my parents has made me become extra motivated. I feel that I should, if I could succeed, I would like to help as many people. He said, explaining how he felt after the loss of his parents, he said, I found the drive was just to keep studying for my Panhellenic exams despite the great loss. He said, everything got turned upside down. I was used to my parents helping me with my studies. Suddenly, I had to get used to doing it on my own with the help of my siblings, family and friends. It was definitely very difficult, but I thought that since I have no other choice, I had to do it. He also admitted, he said there was something definitely psychological to weigh, but he said, I had to face it. So there you go. What a lovely story. And all I can say is good luck to the lad, and we'll see how he gets on in life. Right, okay, let's have a quick look. There's quite a few people tuning in at the moment. Rainer Pete Dillon, nice to have you looking in. Oh, they're talking to Sue, who I don't know which Sue it is. Vasily, is that Basi Polo is tuning in. Pete and Rainer Dillon says, morning Sue from Sillaby. I'm getting messages all over the place here. Rosewood is watching. Sue Dickinson says, morning Ginge. Dennis Patrick Carroll says, good morning, Ginge. And thank you, Dennis, for the pictures from Wiggy's funeral. And I'm so pleased that you were able to attend. Last night on Beats Radio last night, they repeated the remembrance show for Wiggy. I do know a lot of his family were in touch, basically to thank all those people for offering their condolences. And also they wanted to get hold of the shows as well, which featured Wiggy. So once again, cheers for everything that you've been doing as well, fella, especially for Judy over there in Limassol. Also as well, Adrian Stoker says, morning Ginge, back watching live after 3 nights in York. I remember you put me a message and I didn't see it until after the broadcast that you got away to York. You didn't have to test. You didn't have to quarantine on your return home, which is good to see. And that you're now back in York. In fact, Jane was in York a while ago with her mother. And it's a lovely town. I used to live in Bedale, which isn't too far from there. And we used to go to York occasionally on the old park and ride. And go, because it's the only way to get around that town is you park up and get on the bus and go around it, because it can be so busy. So anyway, thank you for that, Anthony. Shane Bone is also watching from up there on Exmoor. He says, Gallimera Ginge, watching all the fantastic Tuesday. Sorry, wishing you all a fantastic Tuesday. Enjoy. Thank you very much, big fella. And thank you for tuning in last night as well to the repeat show as well. That was greatly appreciated. Right, and a quick shout out to Tracy M. Mitchell as well. Right, that's it from me for today. I'm going to keep my ear to the ground. We're still waiting for the detail as to what is going to happen in regards going back to work for myself. It's hoped that I should be back into work by Thursday, but we're going to wait and see what the detail is in regards to what bars and restaurants are allowed to do. We've been given a little heads up of certain things that are going to come into place. All we're waiting for now is the confirmation and the final wording as to where we all stand. So once again, for those people who are coming here on holiday, I hope you get here. I know people are still having flights cancelled and then flights reinstated. Our friend Steve, I've given up how many times he's had his flights cancelled, reinstated, to be cancelled, then to go with another company and have the same thing happen. You will get here at some point, sir. And hopefully your bubble is not going to burst where you are at work at the moment as well. But anyway, that's by the by. I'll keep my ear to the ground. You have a pleasant day. And if you're over here in Greece, just be a little bit careful today, because it is Tuesday the 13th, all right? So just bear that in mind. Don't get yourself in any sticky situations, all right? Just be careful. It is like Friday the 13th today, and we'll see how things progress. Anyway, that's it from me. You take care. Have a great day. I'll keep my ear to the ground. And if I hear anything, I'll let you know. Ta-ra.